This trip was going to be after I'd taken a pretty decent break from tripping at all, just because I felt like I wasn't in the right headspace for a long time. I think it had to do with one, the fact that last time I had thoughts that I was going insane, and then as well, I just felt like I kept focusing on the nervous, anxious parts of the trip, and I kept forgetting how beautiful and enlightening a mushroom trip can actually be. To kind of date this trip, it was going to be at the end of January of 2019. And I think I originally wanted to trip on my birthday, but like I said, I just didn't feel right. The timing fell off, so I just waited till the end of January to do it. This was going to be with 5 dried grams, and the only thing different was I was trying a new type of tea at the time to see if it changed the flavor or made it more palatable. I did the same ritual that I usually do. I played uplifting, chill type music as I made the tea, and then as I was drinking the tea, I was on my couch, and I would have been outside, but being winter time and the fact that I usually get chills while tripping, I didn't want to get like super chilly and then that be something that I just focused on. During the come up, I chose to play Fortnite. I don't really regard Fortnite as part of the ritual, just something to keep my nerves down while waiting on the come up. I always seem to forget just how unsettling the nerves can be until I'm actually on the trip and there's no turning back. But then there comes a point in the experience where the trip takes hold and you begin to, at least I begin to forget about all that because the experience itself is just so intense. Everything else just fades away. The first visuals to this experience was I was greeted again with the same happy face 3D wallpaper, and I felt welcomed back, and I felt as though I went to a realm that's outside of reality. Like, it's the same place as my living room, but maybe a different dimension. The next thing that I remember is meeting this person, and they wanted to show me something, so I followed them. And on the way there, I remember being stopped by these 2 bouncers. I would call them hyperspatial bouncers because they were trying to prevent us from continuing the journey. I just remember these bouncers being extremely intimidating. They had like what seemed to be assault rifles. But the funny thing was to me, like the person or guide that I was with just kept going right past them, like wasn't even worried about it at all. And I say person because that's the best thing that I can come up with to kind of give an example. But to me, it feels more like a presence or an essence of something rather than an actual physical embodiment of a person. One of the next things that I remember was having a really hard time differentiating between whether or not my eyes were open or closed. Like one point I would close my eyes and I would see like it was the same living room but from a different angle, and then I opened my eyes and there was these 2 totem pole shaped figures on either side of my TV. And the best way I can describe these figures is they were as tall as my ceiling, and they had very intricate designs on them, almost like Mayan or Aztec designs. And they gave me the vibe that they were there as protectors, like they were going to make this room safe or that this room was a sacred place. About the same time as I was seeing the totem people, I saw this biological object. It started off as this red ball floating in hyperspace. It had the consistency of liquid metal, but it stayed together as one solid object. And it looked like it was trying to become something, the way it was morphing and extending parts of itself. I then started to feel this outstanding feeling of a presence, like I was being watched, and that so many people were watching this happen to me. I started to see eyes come from everywhere, and then eyes eventually appeared on the coffee mug that I was drinking the tea out of. The peak to this experience was absolutely astonishing. I was watching this chill step on YouTube by Mixhound, and there's this artwork in the background of it that's an image of a man and a woman walking on two separate paths through a field that was experiencing the sunset and having the colors shift from pink to purple. The day-night transition was taking place as they headed towards a tree. And throughout the trip, I was noticing this image. It was swaying back and forth. But now, when I looked at this image, from what I assume was the peak, instead of seeing like wheat, grassy material on the bottom, I now saw the purple portion in the middle of the video became purple hands reaching out of a black void. This imagery paired with the uplifting music gave me this feeling that I've felt many times before, that even though my wife hasn't taken anything, that me going into the experience, I bring a part of her with me, and that her essence is in this realm with me as well. It was at this time that 4 to 5 tubes of neon light in the colors magenta, cyan, lime green, yellow, and maybe orange appeared in my field of view. And it was completely dark, completely pitch black, and flowing down. They were coming through my field of view. And it was almost, the way they moved was almost like a manta or a stingray moving through water. This gave way to a visual of this very light neon pink room where I felt as though I was experiencing a moment of pure ecstasy, where I thought I was experiencing the pinnacle of human existence. I remember this being so beautiful that it brought a tear to my eye, and I followed this feeling from the moment it welled up in my eye to the moment it rolled down the crease of my closed eye until it hit the corner and rolled down my cheek and dripped off my face. It was a very breathtaking moment for me, which eventually subsided. One thing that I forgot to mention was that during the come up, I was playing with this silly putty, and I guess because my senses were so heightened that me playing with it, I had to stop because it was freaking me out. I could just hear my fingers sticking to the silly putty, and it was so loud. Like, I can't explain to you how loud it was. Even though this trip had a lot of moments of extreme beauty, there were a few moments that were pretty negative. I remember having the thought that my wife was going to leave me, and it was very irrational because it was due to the fact that she was worried about me choking on a little coconut cookie, and I just, for some reason, my mind got in this thought loop that because she was unhappy with that she was going to leave me. And it's kind of a common theme for me too, to have thoughts of that I'm going insane. Like, I'm watching my thoughts go on, but I feel like I have no control over them, and I feel like they're just sporadic sometimes, and it's not the normal way that I think, so it kind of freaks me out.